How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
Eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital.
That's difficult to answer.
this the end? There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the dystopia. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the dystopia. This is the final time. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the dystopia. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the dystopia. This is the final
All right. We're gathered here tonight for a little impromptu stream. Because I didn't get to cover as much as I wanted to cover earlier today because we had Spy Stream, and then we found out that there was literally a leftist paying me money or who got gifted a channel membership to literally spy on me to go back and report to the leftist groups. And also, by the way, I actually haven't ruled out that that could be a conservative that hates me and is just pissed off that I blocked them. This is actually a possibility, just so people understand. If you missed it earlier tonight for Spy Stream, we found out that there is, well, we think it's a leftist that is paying me money in order to get access to my spy streams to go report to the people I'm streaming that I'm streaming them. They did it twice to me tonight on 2 different spy streams. Now, I want to say I think it's a leftist, but the reality of the matter is it could also just be a conservative that I blocked for being too stupid to hang on my channel. And because this has happened to me many times, if I block conservatives because they're just too fucking dumb to be here, they're being disruptive in the chat, they're not listening, they all of a sudden try to destroy my work. I've had far more conservatives try to destroy my work than leftists. So I truly don't know which it is. And honestly, I don't really care because either way I'm getting paid money. Yeah, no, chicken spawn, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. You didn't know and I didn't tell you, so it's totally fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, we had that happen tonight, but there's also breaking news that I want to talk about. Thank you, Prince. This is for when you were calling out Stacy in the spy stream. You yell, I give money. Gentlemen's, I don't know what that last word is, but I do appreciate the money. Thank you, Prince. I appreciate it. How do I work around getting outed? I don't use my real name. It's really quite simple, guys. It is the easiest thing in the world. If you are going to sign up for a leftist training in order to record them, what you need to do is to create a fake identity. You create a fake identity by coming up with a name and then opening an email account in that name and then using that name. It's truly not that hard. It's really actually truly pretty fucking easy to create a fake identity. It's so easy, in fact, that I have many fake identities. And why I keep getting away with it and why I can talk about this publicly is I literally just use different names for different trainings. There's no one singular name I use. I sign up under multiple names for pretty much everything. That way they can't figure out which one is me. It's really that simple. So good luck, leftists, trying to figure out who I am because you don't know any of my fake names that I use to sign up for things. And the only reason and the only really strategy they have around this is to try to make everyone turn their cameras on, which also isn't going to work because I know that most of these calls are big enough where if they asked everyone to turn their cameras on, that would be really fucking suspicious to at least half of the people on the call. So that ain't going to work either. So that's how. It's really simple. It's so simple I don't actually feel uncomfortable talking about it on the internet to tell the left, here's exactly how I'm infiltrating your trainings, you stupid motherfuckers. I'm creating a fake identity, many fake identities, in fact. And if you guys ever try to do the thing where you make everyone turn their cameras on, guess what? I have a way around that too. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's really their only big thing that has ever kind of thrown a wrench into things, but then I figured out a way around it, and so it didn't really matter anymore. Good luck, leftists. Good luck. So it doesn't really matter. What I said on the spy stream tonight, I'll say it again, is it's like either way in this situation, I win. Either way, I win. Honestly, I get to watch the training either way. And if the left changes their training because they know I'm recording them, I win. If the left cancels their training because they know I'm recording them, I also win. If I can make it difficult for the left to hold these organizing calls, if I can make it difficult for the left to actually organize in the way that they want to organize by sheer virtue of showing up and recording their stupid asses, I win. It's a win, win, win for me. And guess what? If people know that the left is trying to spy on me to get me to not record them anymore, do you know what's actually going to happen? And I'm going to prove this point right now. Are you guys ready to help me prove a point to the left? I'm going to make more money from people supporting my work if they know the left is trying to destroy it. Can we just demonstrate this right now? I just want to demonstrate this. I would like everyone who wants me to continue to do spy stream and wants to demonstrate to leftists that they are actually going to make me more money by fucking with my work. Can you guys send in a super chat? It could be a $2 super chat, a $5 super chat. You could buy a super sticker for $1. I'm just saying, can we just very quickly demonstrate a point to the left that by sheer virtue of them trying to cause me problems and trying to cancel one of the most popular things I do, which is spy stream, by sheer virtue of that, people will actually pay me more money. And you guys can all help me demonstrate that right now to the leftists who are obviously following every single thing that I do, because there's some paranoid motherfuckers. I know there's a little bit of a delay between when I say something and when things actually happen in the chat, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to start seeing some super chats come in because I know that my audience wants to demonstrate to you guys that they are going to actually pay me more fucking money just because you retards are fucking with my work. W's in the chat for Miss Blue gifting a channel membership. That's a great way to do that. Fuck around, find out. How much more money do you guys want me to make? I mean, really, how many luxury purses can one woman buy with a YouTube channel? How many luxury purses can I buy? I scream, you scream, we all scream for spy stream. Yeah, leftists, you really think that you're fucking around and trying to fuck with my spy streams is gonna hurt me? Please, I'm gonna make more money off of your stupid asses. Look at this. Look how easy that was. Look at how easy that was. I love you guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate all. Yo, a $50 super sticker. I don't think I've ever even gotten a $50 super sticker. I think this might be the first $50 super sticker in the history of the channel, leftists. Thanks for the extra cash, guys. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to buy a whole new purse with this, leftist. I'm going to buy a whole new purse with this, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be glorious. Capitalism for the win. Look at that. We're getting more. We're getting more. Thank you guys. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you for supporting the work I'm doing. You guys make it possible for me. W's in the chat for FarQuest, donating a channel membership. Really appreciate it, bro. For the green, yeah. Capitalism, motherfuckers. Capitalism, motherfuckers. So please, leftists, please. How much money did I make in just like 5 minutes there? How much did I just make? Let me see. Let me see. Leftists, I just made $150 in like 5 fucking minutes. Just because you guys are fucking with my work. You want to keep making me more money? Leftists, do you not understand that people are paying me to fuck with you? Leftists, do you not understand that this is how capitalism works? I provide value out to the community, and the community in return provides money to me. Yeah, suck our dick, communists. Suck our dick. Mine's bigger than yours anyway, and you all damn well know it. W's for Erica in the chat, a gifted channel membership. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, don't worry, leftists. It's mutual aid. It's mutual aid. It's mutual aid, you stupid motherfuckers. Hey, hi, Stacy. Hi. Hi. How many purses am I going to get because of you, Stacy? How much capitalism am I going to get because of you? Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Look at how easy that was. I have the best audience on the internet. You guys rule. Anyway, though. Anyway. Yo, we got Donnie Girl with the 5 gifted channel memberships. W's in the chat for Donnie Girl. Look at this. The wrath of the warmth of communism. The wrath of capitalism. You guys rock. You guys rock. $161 in like 5 fucking minutes. There we go. That's better than the $5 an hour that they're making at Starbucks, or the $7.50 they're making at Starbucks, isn't it? How many leftist Starbucks hours did I just make in 5 minutes? Let's see. I can't do this math in my head. 161 divided by 750. Leftists, I just got the wages of your part-time job for like a fucking week. I just got the wages of a leftist part-time job for a week. I enjoy that Starbucks work, you idiots. Anyway, so Spy Stream will continue until morale improves, leftists. There ain't shit you can do about it. Thank you, Doc. Who needs OnlyFans when you guys have me? Exactly. I don't even have to take my clothes off. This is great. It's great for me. Is it good for you guys? It's good for me. Anyway, more importantly than that, Antifa has published a new document tonight. Let's see. Yo, we got some more channel memberships. Steven in with the gifted channel membership. W's for Steven. Really appreciate it, bro. Thanks so much. I would actually refill. I don't even know what that means, Dwarfus. I don't know what that means. I'll take your word for it. Anyway, breaking news. Antifa has just published a new document. And the reason I went live tonight is there's not really a lot going on in terms of protest coverage, and I don't want to wait to read this. And I thought, maybe there are some crazy people on the internet. Like, everyone's getting used to protest coverage all night long. And I thought maybe my audience is bored. I thought maybe people are bored. And maybe instead of watching protest coverage, you guys want to read some Antifa documents. Thank you. Only fascism for the win. Exactly. Actually, you know what? I actually have an original copy of the Anarchist Cookbook that I got in a communist bookstore in Portland. And it's still kind of packed away with my things. But like, I bought an original copy of it at a communist bookstore in Portland when I was out there. So I do actually have that. I haven't actually looked into it that much, but I do have it. Hey, Right Perspective Radio, thanks for raiding the stream. I so rarely get raids on Rumble. That's pretty rad. Welcome to everyone from Right Perspective Radio. Appreciate you guys being here. Okay, how do you find my books? Go to redmenacepress.com and you can find my books there. Anyway. Since there's not a lot of protest coverage going on tonight, I thought that you guys might want to come read some Antifa documents with me. You guys want to read some Antifa documents? You guys want to see what Antifa's doing? So, tonight, just so you guys are aware, actually, I should probably pull this up. I'm a professional streamer on the internet, as you guys know. So tonight, there were actually, let me go into the previous one. Not that one. This one. Check this out. This is a lobby of a New York hotel room tonight where they believe ICE is staying. Thank you, Diana. Appreciate it. Tonight, a group of anti-left activists, or anti-ICE activists, rather, not anti-left, they're totally left. Tonight, a group of anti-ICE activists took over a hotel lobby in New York where they thought ICE was staying. Look at that. Like 65 of them got arrested, which is a massive W, by the way. 65 of these people got arrested tonight and are currently sitting in a jail in New York. W New York Police. I never would have seen that coming. But my larger point is this. When JD Vance tweeted the other day, Minnesota is a unique position, or Minnesota is a unique case, or whatever, that was just flat out wrong. That was flat out wrong. Minnesota is just the epicenter of all this stuff because Minnesota is the epicenter of where a lot of these far left activist ideologies were born. Minnesota is where modern day Antifa movement was born in 1986. That's why you see all this social justice shit pop up in Minnesota first. But then what happens after it pops up in Minnesota? It gets exported nationally. Yo! Sherry in with the $100 super chat. Yo, thank you, Sherry. Queen Sherry of the chat for the night. We appreciate that, Sherry, very much. Thank you for your generous donation. So it was always incorrect to say that this was just something that was going to be restricted to Minnesota, because that's just not the case. And we already should have known this, by the way. Anyone that can use their brain should have already known this. The anti-ICE riots started in Los Angeles in June. They've been going on out in Portland for months and months and months. They've been going on in Chicago for months and months and months. Minneapolis was just one of the latest cases where they got their rapid response network so locked in that it has now become the national model that Antifa is trying to export everywhere, okay? And so this is now going everywhere. And so we are about to start seeing, I promise you, noise demonstrations at hotels where they think ICE is staying pop up everywhere. Oh, look, guys, can we shame this retard in the chat? I'm as shallow as a liberal, and you need to detox and touch and detox on grass juice. Oh, yeah? Everyone want to shame that guy before I permanently ban him in the chat? Bro, not smart enough to be here. I'm very sorry. Go away. Always got to be something. Always got to be something, doesn't it? $10 super sticker. Thank you so much, Catherine. I really do appreciate that. All right. So one of the things I wanted to do tonight, because we know this bullshit is now going nationwide, Antifa has published a manual for how to do the noise demonstrations outside the hotel. Why have they done this? Because the far left is finding that the noise demonstrations are highly, highly, highly effective. A lot of what the left is doing in Minnesota is highly effective. They are winning, and Trump and ICE are losing, and it's not even close. And if you don't understand that the left is winning, you need to really hinge back into reality, because it's not even close. The left is completely running the table in Minnesota, and because they're being so successful, the left nationally is starting to embrace the same strategies. Well, how do they do that? They communicate through networks like CrimethInc that disseminate information into thousands of decentralized, non-hierarchical Antifa cells all over the country. Thank you, Kimmy, over on Rumble. This is exactly what Trump gets for looking weak in Minnesota. That is 100% right. 100% right. So the way that the far left shares their organizing tactics is through websites like CrimethInc. CrimethInc is one of the more popular ones. It is the publishing arm of Antifa. They publish zines and manuals and posters and flyers and all sorts of things that everyone can download for free and print off. If you read CrimethInc, you will know what is going on in the leftist ecosystem because so many people on the far left read CrimethInc. It's not the only website by a long shot. We can look at the Anarchist Library. We can look at Anarchist News. We can look at the No Blogs ecosystem, which is an anarchist ecosystem of websites where they all publish their content. But the left is very serious about communicating with each other across the country about what tactics are working well and what tactics are not working well so that other Antifa cells all over the country can adopt the things that are working well and learn from things that have happened in the past. Bro, this is the dumbest fucking thing. But now they have to deal with Tom Homan. Who gives a flying fuck? I'm going to tell you the left doesn't give a fuck. Do you guys... It is so funny to me. It is so funny to me that conservatives actually think that the left is afraid of Tom Homan. They're not. In any way. They're already calling his bluff, bro. So that's not going to work out. Hey, thank you. Tonight was my first time watching you. I will be back. Thanks, Pat, for that. I really do appreciate the $20. Welcome, welcome. By the way, can I just mention, since I have everyone here, there is an absurd amount of misinformation going around conservative Twitter about the left, specifically in relation to all the Signal stuff. Can I just point something out? Listen, people are going to get mad at me for saying this, but I feel like I have to point this out. Hang on. Let me get it up. Listen, I like Cam Higbee. I really do. And I'm going to point this out about as gently as I possibly can because Cam Higbee is young and he's still figuring it out. And I don't mean that to be condescending. I mean it just because factually he is young and factually he is still figuring it out. And he doesn't know as much as he thinks he knows, but I don't expect young people to know everything because he's young. And we're allowed to be stupid and make mistakes when we're young, except that in this case, the mistake that Cam Higbee is making is actually pretty fucking simple. And I'm going to explain to you what that mistake is. This is an example of the amount of misinformation that is going around conservative media right now. And this is how all this bullshit gets started. And I understand Cam Higbee's having a very big moment right now. I really don't want to take any of that away from him because I really do believe that he did a great job with this Signal stuff. I really, really do. I am not jealous of him. I actually don't want this type of exposure. I have said it a million times. I don't want to be exposed at that level. I'm very comfortable being kind of like a cult figure that if you know sort of thing, but I don't actually like that much attention on me. So this is not about jealousy. It's not about any of that. This is about there is correct and incorrect information and there is right and wrong. And it's like, if you're not hinging into reality on this stuff, you send all sorts of misinformation and bullshit out into the conservative ecosystem that just completely derails any organized effort to actually accomplish anything. So I'm really trying to be very gentle here, but Cam Higbee is just wrong about this, and I'm going to explain why. Attorney General linked to Signalgate. Cam Higbee is telling people that the fact that there is a link to Keith Ellison's office in a Signal group is proof that Keith Ellison is linked to the Signal group. Guys, literally anyone can make a list of links. Me putting someone on a list of links does not mean that person is communicating with me at all. Now, might Keith Ellison be linked to these Signal groups? Yeah, sure. Okay, maybe, could be. But that's not evidence, guys. That's not evidence. That is not proof. That is only proof that whoever created the Signal group put Keith Ellison a link to his office in that group. And it's just like, this is where I go and I'm like, hold the fuck on. Yes, Cam Higbee did wonderful work in exposing this information, and I think he should get kudos, and I think he should get respect, and I think he should make a fuck ton of money for doing it. I have no problem with any of that. That is not correct. Anyone can list anything they want in a list of links. It does not mean the people that you are linking to are directly involved in the thing. This is what I'm talking about in terms of the misinformation. This is now massively viral on Twitter. There is never going to be any talking down conservatives from this. They're going to say, conservatives all over Twitter are saying, this is proof of a massive funding from other countries and blah, 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 blah. And that's just not happening. So I say this to warn people. Listen, people might think that I am pedantic about this. People might think I'm way too nitpicky in the way I analyze data, but there's a reason that I'm pedantic, and there's a reason that I'm nitpicky, and there's a reason that I get very autistic about a lot of this stuff. And quite frankly, my track record proves that my process is actually the most accurate process because I predict what the left is going to do literally months ahead of when they do it. I am years, months, weeks, days ahead of conservative media and ahead of conservative pundits on the predictions that I make. And my accuracy rate is very, very, very high. And the reason that everyone in my chat says Karlyn is right, Karlyn is right, Karlyn is right all the fucking time is because I am so accurate in my analysis. And the reason I am so accurate in my analysis is I am pedantic and autistic as fuck about every single thing that I do. Every single thing I say, I have primary source evidence to back up. So you never have to guess with me. You never have to think, Karlyn, are you taking things out of context and twisting them? No, I have the primary source evidence. Oh, see, we already have to ban you. We already have to ban you. I'm very sorry. Goodbye. We get people like that out of the chat because people like that are not going to be hinged into reality at all. Because conservatives look at this, and conservatives, of course, hate Keith Ellison. So they want to demonize Keith Ellison. So they say, this is proof that Keith Ellison was involved. No, it's not. No, it's not. You can hate Keith Ellison all you want, but this is not proof that Keith Ellison is involved. Does everyone understand? There's a reason that I'm autistic about all of this shit. Thank you for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. So while I understand that Cam is very excited about this, and again, I think he did an overall good job, he is now going off the rails, and a lot of other people are going off the rails, and there is just a ton of fucking misinformation out there. And it's kind of like, I'm at the point with the Signal stuff where I'm just like, I already knew about all this shit anyway. I've been talking about the Signal groups for months. I've been showing you guys exactly what they've been saying for months and months and months. None of this is actually new information for me. And so I'm kind of just backing away quietly from the Signal group stuff. And I'm just going to continue to do the analysis that I have been doing for literally years that has proven itself to be accurate over and over and over and over and over again, far more than anyone else on the internet. And that's how I feel about it, because like the amount of misinformation around this whole thing at this point is just absurd. I'm not going to spend my time debunking it. People are going to believe what they want to believe anyway. It doesn't really matter. And if people want to look at primary source evidence, they can come over here and do it. And if they don't want to do it, that's fine. If they want to lie to themselves, that's fine. If they want to be unhinged from reality, whatever, man. I can't control the fucking internet. I'm just saying to people that while I have like a moment that don't believe the misinformation. You guys are all capable. Every single one of you is capable of looking at primary source evidence and deciding for yourself what that means. And I want to plead with people, when you are looking at the far left, you have got to do it from a detached perspective. I understand that everyone hates Keith Ellison. I understand that everyone wants direct evidence that Keith Ellison is involved. But when you cherry pick something and you twist it out of context and then you make it mean something it doesn't mean, you are actually undermining any sort of research and analysis that's going on this information. You're lying to the public. You're spreading misinformation. This is not proof that Keith Ellison was involved. And it doesn't matter how much you hate Keith Ellison. Go find actual proof he was involved. Go find him in the actual Signal chats. Go find communication that he actually wrote. Go find evidence that there is any sort of there probably is evidence out there, but this is not evidence, guys. It's just not. And people have to be honest with themselves about what we're looking at. Otherwise, the analysis goes completely off the fucking rails and everyone is misinformed and everyone is more stupid as a result. There are people tracking with what I'm saying. One in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. Two in the chat if you're confused. It's okay to be confused. But I need to understand if people understand what the point I'm making about this, because it's actually critical to understanding what we're doing here. Cool, cool. Lots of ones in the chat. So I'm making my point there. So let's go back to this. Antifa has released a document basically outlining here is how you effectively organize noise demonstrations at these hotels. The goal of this document is to take what is happening in Minnesota that is highly effective and export it all over the country. And we've already seen evidence of this happening in New York tonight. Okay. So I thought we would take some time because there's not really protest coverage tonight. And I thought maybe you guys would like to read some Antifa documents with me. You guys want to read some Antifa documents? One in the chat if you want to read some Antifa documents. Guys, please make sure to mount the like button for me. Mounting the like button tells YouTube to recommend my content, gets more people into the channel. Was I just doing coke? No, sadly. Sadly, I was not. Sadly, I was not. Just, I wish I was. I'll probably be smoking weed on this. Obviously, I would never get high on the internet, but if I were, I might be doing that tonight. Anyway, let's read some Antifa propaganda. We're going to chill out. Everyone be chill in the chat. Okay, this is chill stream. Anytime we stream after like 11 o'clock at night, it's got to be chill stream. We're just relaxing here. No one be a dick. No one insult. If you guys have questions, then ask the questions. But can we just all chill? Can we chill? Can we all agree? Hey, thanks, Rockers Modern Life over on Rumble. Karlyn set me straight and I saw the world in a different way. And now I don't get fooled as much. She is the goat of exposing the left. The Cam Higbees wish they could do what she does. Well, listen, man, Cam Higbee is perfectly capable of doing what I'm doing. But Cam Higbee has a lot to learn about the left. He really does. He's still relatively new at this. Again, I don't want to shit talk Cam Higbee. I don't dislike Cam Higbee. I don't. I think a lot of his work is very good. He's young. Anyone can do what I do, guys, but you have to understand that it's it takes time to learn how to do it. And Cam is he's like a Padawan. He's like an apprentice. He's like a novice. He's learning and he's figuring it out and he's doing a good job. And he's doing what he should be doing. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm not disliking him. I'm not telling people not to look at what he's doing. I'm telling people you should look at what he's doing. But you also have to be critical. You have to be critical of everything. Listen, I tell people all the time, be critical of me and my work. I'm not afraid of people being critical of me. I will literally debate anyone because I have evidence to back up everything I say. But if I'm not presenting good evidence to you guys, you should be critical of me. And Cam is in a public position. He's in a very public position where we have to be critical of his work when it's not necessarily accurate. And it doesn't mean that I dislike him. It means I have an intellectual disagreement with him. That's it. So that's all. I don't want anyone to think otherwise. Because rumors spread on the internet and that's the way it goes. Anyway, let's get into this and let's start reading some Antifa documents and then we can find out what's going on. I'm going to bring up my handy dandy AI reader so I don't have to read this. Again, this is something that Antifa published just a couple hours ago. This is a document designed to teach Antifa cells all over the country how to do the noise demonstrations at the hotels effectively. All right, let's get this party started.
The noise demonstrations keeping IC agents awake at their hotels. A model from the Twin Cities. In the following account, participants in the noise demonstrations targeting hotels that house federal agents in the Twin Cities recount their experiences and explain how this tactic might be employed elsewhere. January 26, 2026. On Monday, January 26th, 100 protesters converged on the Spring Hill Suites by Marriott in Maple Grove, Minnesota, to see off disgraced former Commander-at-Large of Customs and Border Protection Greg Bovino, freshly demoted and set to be shipped back to California. Demonstrators blew whistles, beat snare drums, and banged on pots and pans. Border Patrol officers collaborating with local police responded by shooting tear gas and pepper balls and shoving people indiscriminately, arresting at least 2 protesters. This was the latest in a series of noise demonstrations targeting the hotels.
I should give you guys the link to this. Hang on. I'm going to give you guys the link in the chat so you can follow along if you want to. Here is what we are reading. There you go on YouTube. There you go on Rumble. I'm going to pin this to the top. So if you guys want to follow along on your own screen, you can follow along.
This was the latest in a series of noise demonstrations targeting the hotels housing this occupying force. So far, multiple hotels are closed as a result, and it is conceivable that some mercenaries have gone without rest as well. 2 days after the Whittier neighborhood chased out federal agents following the brutal murder of Alex Preddy, the regime chose to rotate out Bovino as the public face of the federal occupation. His commander-at-large position has been abolished, and news outlets are reporting that all Customs and Border Patrol officers will be leaving Minneapolis. This will reduce the number of federal mercenaries occupying Twin Cities by a third, but it leaves 2,000 immigration and customs enforcement agents to continue terrorizing us, now likely with more assistance from the Democratic governor and mayor.
So I want to point a couple things out. Number one, Trump looks incredibly weak. Everything that Trump has done in this situation is emboldening Antifa. Every single thing that Trump has done in this situation is emboldening the far left. Does everyone understand that? Do you guys agree with me? 1 in the chat if you think Trump looks incredibly weak. 2 in the chat if you think Trump has handled this just great. 1 if you think Trump looks incredibly weak. 2 if you think Trump has handled this just great. Yeah, it's a lot of ones. That's a lot of ones. So that's point number 1 I want to make, guys. The left believes that they are winning. The left believes they have all the momentum. The left believes that all of these tactics are working. That is why they're creating manuals to teach other people how to do it. The left doesn't create manuals to teach other organizations, other cells, how to do this stuff if they don't think it's working, okay? When they find a tactic that works, they create manuals, they create training plans, they export it all over the place. They double down on the tactic. So that means the left is convinced that these noise protests outside of hotels are extremely effective, which means they are calling Trump's bluff every step of the way because they know Trump isn't going to do shit. And the worst that's going to happen is they spend a couple days in jail. The other point I want to make is that they're not in favor of Tim Walz. They don't like Tim Walz. They don't like the Democrats. They believe they're going to be fighting with Tim Walz and the Democrats, and they're perfectly fine with that because the far left hates the Democrats anyway. Democrats are not communists. Communists are not Democrats. These people are like enemies. And so they believe that they are actively going to be fighting Tim Walz, and they are perfectly fine with that.
This will reduce the number of federal mercenaries occupying Twin Cities by a third, but it leaves 2,000 immigration and customs enforcement agents to continue terrorizing us, now likely with more assistance from the Democratic governor and mayor. January 26, 2026. Nonetheless, this is the first crack to appear in our oppressor's armor. They are not making this concession because they murdered Alex Preddy, but because the people fought back. The struggle is fought.
This is the first crack to appear in our oppressor's armor. What they're saying is removing Greg Bavino and CPB from Minneapolis is the first crack in the armor of the fascist Trump order. So they view this as a massive, massive, massive W.
Nonetheless, this is the first crack to appear in our oppressor's armor. They are not making this concession because they murdered Alex Preddy, but because the people fought back. The struggle is far from over. Immigration's our Tom Homan will be arriving to replace Bovino soon, and we will have to pivot to confront a new strategy. But it is instructive that CBP Bortak officers, who were most theatrically violent agents in the first act of this invasion, are the first to withdraw from the fight after suffering a single defeat the way cowards do. What happens in the Twin Cities is a
bro. See, this is an example of why the right will always be losers. Excuse me. Trump isn't a dictator and he has to deal with the separation of powers. Winning the midterms. Trump isn't going to win the midterms. You're fucking insane if you think Trump's going to win the midterms. Keeping his political funding, remembering he's the president for everyone, not just conservatives. Are you fucking retarded? Are you actually retarded? Are you smart enough to be here? You want Trump to be the president for everyone? Bro, these people are trying to violently overthrow the government, and you want to pat them on the head and give them a fucking cookie and say, hey guys, we respect your right to try to overthrow the government. Are you retarded? Like, what the fuck?
What happens in the Twin Cities is a prelude to a much larger struggle that will unfold around the country. We can help to equip you to fight these same bounty hunters when they show up in your town by sharing the tactics with which we are fighting them here. Alongside the rapid response networks, the general strike, the blockades, and the revolts when they shoot people, we have been experimenting with noise demonstrations. Here is what we have experienced. So far, January 26, 2026, the noise demos. The first noise demo I attended was at the Home 2 Suites by Hilton in Bloomington, Minnesota, by the Mall of America. This was very early into the occupation, when rapid response was still being run primarily out of South Side networks and had yet to proliferate through the rest of Minneapolis and the greater metro area.
I want everyone to think about how this is written. This is written... This is written as though it's the war journal of someone in the rebellion. And they're staging like the left believes, I think Chief Trumpster said this on Twitter earlier. The left believes they're in a war. The right is totally sleepwalking this whole thing. This is written like we are in a war and we are the rebellious unit and we are trying to overcome the oppressors. And they like it is like a war story. It's like a journal that you would like. The first noise demo I attended was at the Home Suites by Hilton. This was very early on in the occupation when rapid response was still being primarily run. It's like an after action report for being in the fucking war. This is like a war story. That is how this document is written. Does everyone see that? This is like a story that becomes a movie script that later becomes propaganda for the glorious rebellion and overthrow of the United States government. This is a movie script.
This was very early. The first noise demo I attended was at the Home 2 Suites by Hilton in Bloomington, Minnesota, by the Mall of America. This was very early into the occupation, when rapid response was still being run primarily out of South Side networks and had yet to proliferate through the rest of Minneapolis and the greater metro area. I saw an infographic shared in the Daily Patrol chat asking for people to attend with noisemakers and not to post about it on social media. When we arrived at the hotel, there were about a dozen protesters and 4 Bloomington police squad cars waiting in the parking lot with their lights on. The word on the ground.
The noise demonstrations started with about a dozen protesters. I need people to understand this because I see conservatives talking about this all the time. If the left has some sort of small turnout for something, Conservatives make fun of it and they're like, ha ha, it didn't work. We win, you lose, you're stupid. They post all this shit on Twitter, like making fun of them. The noise demonstration started with 12 people. And then it grew to a few more. And then it grew to a few more after that. And then they all brought some friends. And it kept escalating and escalating and escalating and building upon each other until they can turn out 100 fucking people in an hour to go make noise outside of a hotel. And it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. What starts with small numbers of people can quickly compound on itself if they're just consistent and they keep showing up and they keep trying. And I think conservatives really don't get this because it's like conservatives make fun of them every step of the way. Ha ha, that failed. Do you guys remember about a year ago when the left started protesting ICE facilities and there weren't that many people doing it at the time? And conservatives like, oh my God, that's a complete failure. Well, guess what, conservatives? Guess what? You were making fun of the left all last year. That was a failure. Not everyone did it. They didn't even have a crowd. Why don't they don't have jobs? And the protests kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And all the conservative right did was make fun of them the entire time, thinking that this was all just going to go away if we just ignored it. Well, guess what? It hasn't gone away. It's now getting to a problem that I don't know how it's possible to manage this problem. I truly don't. I usually have ideas for you can do this, that, and the other thing, maybe. But like, I truly have no fucking idea if I were in Trump's shoes, how I would even begin to mitigate the problem that has been caused. And it has been caused because the right did not take it seriously when it was small. You have to take something seriously when it is small, not just make fun of it, not just own the libs, not just say, they're stupid and they don't have jobs. It's so fucking bizarre to me that it has even gotten to this point. But it's gotten to this point because it started with a dozen people. And then a couple more came. And then a few of them brought their friends. And it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden, boom! What did you think was going to happen?
The word on the when we arrived at the hotel, there were about a dozen protesters and 4 Bloomington police squad cars waiting in the parking lot with their lights on. The word on the ground was that the signal loop being used to plan the demo was...
You don't get it. Hang on. You don't get it. The left has the power of the institutions. No, they don't. Not in the way you think they do. This started with a dozen fucking people on a sidewalk. What institution is required to have a dozen fucking people show up on a sidewalk? Why are you fucking making excuses? You don't need institutional support for a dozen fucking people to show up on a sidewalk. That doesn't require the media. That doesn't require education. That doesn't require NGOs. It doesn't require George Soros. It's a dozen people showing up on a sidewalk, bro. Get your fucking head in the game.
The word when we arrived at the hotel, there were about a dozen protesters and 4 Bloomington police squad cars waiting in the parking lot with their lights on. The word on the ground was that the signal loop being used to plan the demo was infiltrated, necessitating the creation of a new, somewhat vetted planning chat on the spot. We did a lap around the hotel banging pots and pans, blowing whistles, playing brass instruments, and setting off car alarms. When we finished our lap, we pressed on and did another. Then the squad cars drove up to block our path, and we left. The group that emerged out of this demonstration involved all sorts of everyday people, but was de facto headed by representatives of a certain long-standing formal organization, which published recordings of the demonstrations and claimed responsibility for them. To give credit where it is due.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Meanwhile, we've got idiots over in the Patriot spaces calling me Dr. KKK. By Patriots, they mean conservatives, guys. There apparently are conservatives shit-talking me on Twitter spaces right now because they're too stupid to understand what's going on. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Whatever.
To give credit where it is due, The experience, confidence, perceived legitimacy, and organizational capacity of this larger public-facing organization may well have been essential to popularizing noise.
Those same conservatives that are calling me Dr. KKK are probably the same ones that are like, we believe in colorblind meritocracy and we will never be racist or anti-Semitic. Do you know who the real racists are? It's the Democrats. The Democrats are the real racist guys. We're not racist. We love black people and Mexicans. Those are the fucking conservatives who are calling me Dr. KKK.
The group that emerged out of this demonstration involved all sorts of everyday people, but was de facto headed by representatives of a certain long-standing formal organization, which published recordings of the demonstrations and claimed responsibility for them. To give credit where it is due, the experience, confidence, perceived legitimacy, and organizational capacity of this larger public-facing organization may well have been essential to popularizing noise demonstrations as a tactic in the Twin Cities. January 25th, 2026. You can obtain these stickers here.
Oh, by the way, this was on one of the hotels they did the noise demonstration at. Do you guys know how I know that CrimeThink is absolutely influencing the groups that are doing this? Because they literally used a CrimeThink sticker on the door of one of the hotels that they were doing the noise demonstrations at. So how we can tell what leftist propaganda is being influential in the real world and what isn't, does it show up actually in physical reality? Someone at that protest got a CrimeThink sticker from somewhere. Could have been a bookstore. They could have printed it out on their own. It could have been from anywhere. They actually brought a CrimeThink sticker from this website into the real world and stuck it on the door of the hotel that they were terrorizing. This is how we know that that group reads CrimeThink, because they're literally putting their propaganda on the door. Oh yeah, I have that sticker too. For people who don't know, Average Person is a member of my community that's gone undercover at far left events. We actually did a whole thing together one time. And so I'm not gonna say where, but like he and I both go undercover with the far left. We both have that sticker because we both got it at far left events that we saw CrimeThink at. Yo, thank you, T. I don't know how to say your name, but thank you. I really do appreciate that. And we got a new member on the channel. Welcome to the cult, bro. Welcome to the cult. Your life is over. You're never leaving. You will never see the world the same way again. But, you'll have friends during the Marxist Revolution. That's pretty cool. Oh, bro, that's a really good idea, actually. That's a really good idea.
You can obtain these stickers here. The strategy has involved two kinds of demonstrations. Smaller, invite-only noise demonstrations that are promoted only to those the planners trust. These generally draw 10 to 25 attendees, which is still enough to wake up an entire hotel. And less frequent publicly announced noise demonstrations involving self-appointed protest managers in yellow vests, ready to direct the much larger crowd.
So can we just reflect on the fact that even when they're only doing invite-only noise demonstrations at these hotels where they literally only tell their friends, he's not. Soros isn't funding these people. Only retards and faggots think that Soros is funding these people. Which are you? Anyway, when they're only inviting their direct friends to these noise protests, they're still able to draw 1 to 2 dozen attendees. That's enough to make a lot of fucking noise. Thanks for the super sticker, bro. I appreciate it.
Regarding the invite-only noise demonstrations, the group quickly coordinated new ways to identify and protest the hotels that were collaborating with the fascist occupiers. Some people would go to the hotels, acting like guests, and ask workers if they had heard anything about IC staying there. Others would follow up on tips by scouring hotel parking lots for confirmed IC license plates.
Oh my God. Oh my God. See, this is a reflection of the sheer volume of conservative retardation that is spreading around Twitter right now. You are mentally fucked if you don't understand that this is state sponsored, bro. Let's do a vote of the chat. I don't think this guy is smart enough to be here, but you guys can give him a reprieve. 1 in the chat for deport from the channel for not being smart enough to be here. 2 in the chat if we should give him a second chance. You guys decide. 1 for deport, 2 for he can stay. No quarter for retards? Is that what I'm hearing? No quarter for retards? Sorry, bro. Deport. The chat decided. It's not my fault. The chat did it. I can't control the chat. Bye. Deporto to Mexico. Bye. Hey, Brucey, it's good to see you. The right is waiting for the next great man of history to take it back. The left believes in collective action. They're not waiting for a leader. Who would you bet on to win, conservatives? Exactly. Exactly. I totally agree. Thanks for the super chat. Found a Stacey Long at the honor roll list of the 2020. See, we found that one. I don't think that's her. Because you guys, if you're searching for this Stacey Long bitch, the one who thinks that she's so smart to infiltrate me, if you're searching for this Stacey Long bitch, there need to be 3 things that you're looking at. 1, that they are associated with the Sunrise Movement. 2, that they are college age. And 3, that their name is Stacey Long, spelled specifically that way. If you only have one of those, which is her name, that's not all 3. I am not doxing innocent people here. I need all 3. Her name needs to be Stacey Long. She needs to be associated with the Sunrise Movement explicitly, or with other far left activist groups explicitly. And she's got to be in her early 20s or college age or something like that. If you do not have all 3 of those things, I don't want to hear about it. We already know about this one. She does not have all 3 of those things. She only has 1. We are not doxing innocent people here. Thanks so much, though. I do appreciate the super chat. No. Like, fuck right off. Like, literally fuck right off. Fuck right off. You want to save the world for your kids? You get some fucking earphones, motherfucker. There is no universe in which I am ever going to stop swearing. It is your responsibility to cover your own fucking ears so your little darlings don't hear words you don't want them to hear, or send them out of the fucking room. Why are they fucking listening to me anyway? That doesn't make any sense. No. Denied. Not going to happen.
When one worker was fired for tipping the planners off that IC was staying at their hotel, people developed online forums for anonymous tips. Everybody brainstormed new ways to make more and more noise. Full drum kits quickly became a mainstay of the demonstrations, showing up in both stationary and mobile forms. One person brought handheld personal alarms that produce a high decibel noise when a pin is pulled and do not shut off until the pin is replaced. These devices, widely distributed among the participants, made for quite a headache for hotels when left behind in inaccessible locations.
Yeah, this is the priorities of conservatives. You know, I really don't like the left, and it's really scary what's going on. But Karlyn, she swears a little bit too much, and she's not a Christian, and I think she might be a witch, and it's just like, it's like, literally go away, like, literally, like go suffer in communism. Then I don't give a fuck.
These devices, widely distributed among the participants, made for quite a headache for hotels when left behind in inaccessible locations after protesters departed with the pins. People began to bring powerful flashlights, shining them into the windows of hotel rooms. To decide on a time and location, the participants would create a new chat for each demonstration, picking a nearby location at which to meet and discuss the specifics of that night's plan. One innovation has been to start by setting off car alarms for an agreed.
Setting off car alarms. Isn't that nice of them? Unfortunately, the right has become arrogant and are underestimating the enemy. Oh, bro, they aren't becoming. They've been underestimating the fucking enemy for years and years and decades even. I do appreciate the super chat, though. Thanks so much. No, I'm not a Christian, and I'm never going to become a Christian. And if you proselytize to me on my channel, I'm going to permanently ban you. There's no proselytization allowed. You fucking focus on your own spiritual beliefs. I will focus on mine. It's going to be one of those nights, isn't it? Would like to clarify that Marx made it clear that communism was meant to be temporary. That it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The hard left is bullshit. No. It doesn't matter, because what the left is doing is not pure Marxism. It is not there. The Marxism has evolved. It has evolved and it has mutated. We call it gain-of-function Marxism. What the left is doing is not pure Marxism. They don't even read a lot of Marx, bro. They do read him, but like they read other things that are much more influential of them in terms of like zines and stuff in the anarchist library and things like that. What the left is implementing today is not Bolshevism. It is a mutated form of Marxism that has combined with queer ideology and all of this stuff from the punk movement and all sorts of other things. It's called gain of function Marxism because it's mutated into a new thing. You can't go back and read Marx or study the Russian Revolution to understand purely what the left is doing today because it's completely different than what that is. I'm not saying you shouldn't read Marx, but you have to understand that the left has evolved beyond that, like exponentially. Thank you so much for the super chat, though. They seem to fear Bolshevik counter. Yes, they do. They do fear. They definitely do fear counter revolutionaries like us, which is probably why I'm gonna get shot someday. I've accepted this. I've accepted my fate. Like, I'm gonna open the door one day and I'm gonna get shot by a leftist socialist during the revolution. I know that. Like, right, you know, whatever. I guess either that or going to the gulag. But they do really fear people like us. They fucking hate me. They hate me far more than like, you know, they hate me, but they don't. It's a weird thing. They whine about me all the time. Anyway, so yeah. What do you make of rural conservatives versus urban conservatives and how do we come together? I have no fucking idea. Like I don't know. Like I think that mostly I guess I don't really distinguish between the two if I'm honest. I don't have a good answer for you, but I do appreciate the money.
One innovation has been to start by setting off car alarms for an agreed upon amount of time, then leaving our vehicles to make noise on foot, going around the hotel in laps. When the police show up and issue a warning, we leave, reasoning that smaller groups are not as effective at resisting those orders as a massive crowd is. Eventually, people began to prepare a list of hotels to target on a given night. We'd protest at one hotel until the police arrived, then simply move on to the next in another neighborhood or even city. January 25th, 2026. In late December, comrades had gotten word that there were feds staying the Canopy by Hilton in the Mill District of Minneapolis, and, once again, the Home 2 Suites in Bloomington by the Mall of America, the same location mentioned above. The plan that night was to meet up at midnight nearby to go over how we wanted to start the demonstration. Certain people took on specific roles. One person would be police liaison, another would de-escalate angry bystanders and try to recruit them into the demonstration. Our goal was to ensure the demonstration could go on as long as possible, even after local police departments showed up to shut it down. The action at the Canopy started shortly after midnight. It drew a larger crowd for one of the smaller demos. Folks had brought a wide range of noisemakers with them: pots and pans, speakers, whistles, an entire drum kit, megaphones, even a didgeridoo. A few also brought flashlights and a laser pointer to shine.
They brought a didgeridoo. Does anyone know how big a didgeridoo is? A didgeridoo is a giant fuck-off Australian horn. They brought a didgeridoo to an. It's a giant. Oh god, I'm gonna have to fucking. Where is it spelled? I don't know how to fucking.
Folks
spell
had brought a wide range of.
Hang on, I'll show you what a didgeridoo is. You're gonna know what it is as soon as you see it. It's that. It's the giant Australian horn that goes. It like does like a low hum sort of thing. You hear the didgeridoo in all those like Australian movies like Crocodile Dundee and stuff, which is the only Australian movie I can fucking think of. Is there any other Australian movie other than Crocodile Dundee? Like, maybe I'm just really that old that I literally cannot think of another Australian movie. Am I? Anyway, I'm sure the Australians in the chat are being like really offended right now. They're like, Karlyn, what the fuck?
Folks had brought a wide range of noisemakers with them: pots
Survivor,
and pans,
yeah.
speakers, whistles, an entire drum kit, megaphones, even a didgeridoo. A few also brought flashlights and a laser pointer to shine into the windows of hotel rooms. Staff inside of the hotel quickly called the cops to quash the commotion, but the police
Rubber
responded
Stomper, that's a
slowly.
good one. That's an
The
old one.
noise
Holy
was
shit.
audible from several blocks away in multiple directions. Neighbors from many apartment buildings came outside to check out what was happening. Someone even hopped out of their car to hand a demonstrator an air horn, then circled the block honking their car horn. Roughly 20 to 30 minutes into the demo, a few Minneapolis Police Department squad cars started to show up, driving slowly by the demonstration, but the officers did not exit their cars or declare the crowd to be trespassing. At one point, there were 4 squad cars stationed at the end of the street to the left of the demonstration, presumably chatting about how to engage with the protesters. After what appeared to be a lengthy discussion,
Touche.
they
Thank
departed.
you.
The noise demonstration went on, uninhibited by police or angry residents. For a solid hour, my companion and I left the Canopy location to head to the next meeting spot in Bloomington. After we had left, comrades who were still at the Canopy by Hilton lingered to
Comrades.
speak to press about the action. Shortly after that, MPD rolled in with an absurdly heavy-handed show of force. According to our comrades who were still present, they showed up with a dozen or more squad vehicles. One activist joked that there was 1 car per police officer that responded to the demonstration. An officer on a loudspeaker announced that the activists had to leave and declare the action an unlawful assembly. No arrest took place.
Oh, I want everyone to notice something here. Antifa is telling each other, listen, when you do these noise demonstrations, the cops are going to show up. And when the cops show up, they're going to make an announcement saying, this is an unlawful assembly. And just know that they're probably not going to arrest you. They're just trying to scare you, or you can scatter or something like that. That is the subtext of what they're like saying, like, you know, they're not really arresting people. But now that might be starting to change. We did see them arrest people last night. I think like 25 people got arrested last night and they had to sit in jail for a couple days, which is pretty rad. Whole bunch of people got arrested tonight in New York. So maybe this is starting to change. And if it does, Antifa is going to update their documentation, but they just published this. So like, you know, they're going based on what they had when they wrote it. Muriel's Wedding, great Aussie flick. ABBA too. Yeah.
An officer on a loudspeaker announced that the activists had to leave and declare the action an unlawful assembly. No arrest took place. After the action at the Canopy, our comrades rendezvoused with us in Bloomington to establish our plan of action for the next hotel. It was cold and raining, so we decided to keep it short and sweet. We drove into the hotel parking lot and set off our car alarms for a few minutes before getting out to do a couple laps around the hotel, making noise. The police responded differently to this demonstration than they had to the one earlier this winter. They weren't already stationed there waiting for us, but their response was quick. The officers who responded told activists to leave the premises immediately or be trespassed. January 25th, 2026.
See, again, we have the retardation of conservatives. Excuse me, why are you studying noise-making freaks while there's a nationwide network of commie judges and prosecutors? Only retards and faggots think there's a commie network of judges and prosecutors. You want to know why, bro? Because real communists want to abolish the courts. Real communists, these people, the people trying to push the communist revolution in America, that's the people we're reading right now. They want to abolish the courts. So, seems to me that you don't know as much as you think you know, because we are reading, this is the communist network. What we are reading is propaganda that is going out to every Antifa cell in the country right now. You are literally seeing the propaganda. This is the fucking problem with retard conservatives. You literally put in front of them the Antifa propaganda of the actual people who are trying to overthrow the government. And conservatives are like, but excuse me, have you thought about the Democrats? Literally, fuck off, bro. You're not smart enough to be here. Go away. Janet, thank you for the super chat. Do Democrats like Walsh know the far left hate them? Yes. Or do they think they're they don't think they're allies. They know the far left hates them, but they have to walk a fine line, because it's like, if they do X, they get attacked by the far left. If they do Y, they get attacked by the far left. So, like, yes, they are very, 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 very clear. Janet, they were protesting Tim Walz today. Am I on fucking glue? The far left was protesting Tim Walz. Do you think that Tim Walz thinks they're his friend? They were protesting outside his office today. The far left protested the DNC. The far left hated Kamala Harris. They showed up at her rallies all the time to disrupt them. This is consistent behavior. Do you guys really think the Democrats don't understand that the far left hates them? Please wake up. Thank you for the super chat, but please wake the fuck up.
The first of the public demos with mass attendance took place in Edina, an affluent suburb of Minneapolis. The crowd easily numbered around 200. More and more people showed up throughout the night.
Got another super chat coming in. I'm gonna call you Ty because I don't know how to say your name. Leftists are all opening moves. Right is end game. No. The right. There's no end game with the right. That's not true at all. There's no critical thinking in either. Also not true, bro. Like, listen. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate you becoming a member tonight. You need to learn more than you do, though, because if you think there's no critical thinking in the far left, that is not reality at all in any way. So I disagree, but I appreciate the money.
More and more people showed up throughout the night, a common feature of noise demonstrations. The crowd was furious, but the atmosphere had the energy of a party. Protesters danced and laughed and socialized when not using their noisemakers. Some identified the vehicles of the federal mercenaries and exchanged notes about how to recognize them. The organizers tried to keep the crowd on the sidewalk and off of hotel property in hopes of delaying a police response, but largely failed in this effort. For the first time, ICE agents staying in the hotel walked into the lobby in plain clothes with their faces masked in order to watch the uproar. This incensed the crowd, many of whom charged up the doors and windows to scream at the occupiers, pound on the glass, and shine strobe lights in their eyes. When one Fed attempted to blow off the crowd by visibly watching basketball highlights on his phone, a protester shouted, "You're watching ads, you broke bitch. Kill yourself." The federal agent returned to his room shortly thereafter.
I just really want people to understand how bolden and like brazen the left is. Think about what they're publishing here. Let me grab this super chat. Thank you, Miss Blue. We're here to learn and ask questions, not to make rude statements. Yes, that's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah, you just got permanently banned from my channel. Goodbye. Not smart enough to be here. Go away. For the first time, ICE agents staying in the hotel walked into the lobby in plain clothes with their faces masked in order to watch the uproar. This incensed the crowd, many of whom charged up to the door and windows to scream at the occupiers, pound on the glass, and shine strobe lights in their eyes. They're flat out saying they are going up to ICE officers and shining fucking strobe lights in their eyes. When one Fed attempted to blow off the crowd by visibly watching basketball highlights on his phone, a protester shouted, "You're watching ads, you broke bitch, kill yourself." They're publishing this on the internet because they know they can, because they know they can get away with it, because they know the Trump administration isn't going to do fuck off about it.
Kill yourself. The federal agent returned to his room shortly thereafter. January 25th, 2026. Each time the crowd began to directly confront the federal agents, yellow-vested peace police desperately sought to corral the demonstrators into taking another lap around the hotel. Again, these efforts met with only moderate success. Eventually, 2 Edina police officers arrived, placing themselves at the hotel's front entrance. They tried to give it a spur.
Yo, we got $5 over on Rumble. Thank you, Rocco's Modern Life. The plate spotters are vital to the operation. If you think a database is retarded BS, you have a Somali level IQ. Yeah, that's another point. Actually, what he's talking about is the people who are constantly looking for license plates. So for people who don't know, the left literally keeps a database of license plates of cars that they believe ICE is driving. So if they spot the license plates, they're able to say they're at this location. This is how they doxed Greg Bavino's hotel last night, because they knew what car he was in. And so they track the car to the hotel basically because they have this database that they all have access to with the license plates. And by the way, they've been doxing license plates for months and months and months. They literally stood outside the ICE facilities just writing down license plates for like a long ass time. Jay Strong with a super chat. Conservative Christian here, 4 months in. I'm super thankful for you and your work. You've helped me uncover far leftists in my red city. Much love. Hey, thank you so much, Jay Strong. I really do appreciate that, and I'm glad you're finding it valuable. Thanks for the buck pin. I appreciate it.
They tried to give a dispersal warning, but each time the crowd began to directly confront the federal agents, yellow-vested peace police desperately sought to corral the demonstrators into taking another lap around the hotel.
Okay. I'm sorry. We've given you 3 strikes now, and now we need to have a deportation vote on you. Karlyn gets caught up on labels and terms used in literature that obscure, like literally only retards and faggots think I get caught up on terms in literature. I don't even fucking read literature. That obscures it. Bah, 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 bah. Guys, 1 in the chat for deport, 2 in the chat for he can stay. I feel like we've given him 3 strikes tonight. He just keeps saying retard shit in the chat, and he's obviously showing no signs of stopping. 1 for deport, 2 for he can stay. Very sorry, bro. Deported from the channel. Off to Mexico you go. Enjoy the fucking Spanish. Goodbye.
Each time the crowd began to directly confront the federal agents, yellow-vested peace police desperately sought to corral the demonstrators into taking another lap around the hotel. Again, these efforts met with only moderate success. Eventually, 2 Edina police officers arrived, placing themselves at the hotel's front entrance. They tried to give a dispersal warning, but were completely drowned out by the protesters. You should wear earplugs at any noise demo. My tinnitus has taught me that lesson well. The protest marshals decided their job was to do the work of the police for them. They told everyone it was time to disperse. A large segment of the crowd didn't listen, and the marshals simply left. Police repeatedly attempted to disperse the crowd by issuing warnings without effect. Finally, Edina police and officers from 4 neighboring police departments all showed up in riot gear, declaring an unlawful assembly at the whole hotel and the surrounding blocks, and threatened to deploy chemical weapons. When the thinning crowd of protesters saw that the police outnumbered them, they left, having averted arrest or injury. At this point, there were 5 different police departments standing around protecting the property of the collaborators.
Okay, I want to point this out. There were 5 different police departments standing around protecting the property of the collaborators. In that single sentence, the left is telling you why they hate the police. They believe that the police are the managers of private property. The left defines capitalism as private property ownership. That means your ability to own a home, land, apartment rental that you rent out as a landlord, intellectual property, private business, whether or not that's private business is big or small. It also means parental rights over your kids, which is terrifying, but we got to talk about that another day. In this case, I just want people to understand the left defines capitalism as private property ownership. They believe the police are the protectors or the managers of private property. That is why they hate the police. They believe that in order to overthrow capitalism, they need to abolish the police and abolish the prison industrial complex because the police are the protectors of capitalism or private property. You can see them saying that here. At this point, there are 5 different police departments standing around protecting the property of the collaborators. When you understand the left's language, you will understand why they do the things they do. You must understand the police to them represent capitalism. ICE represents capitalism because ICE and CPB and DHS, they're the protectors of the border. What do you need to have private property? You need a border. You can't have private property without having a border. They believe the police, ICE, DHS, CPB, all of the different organizations, they believe they are all the same. They are all the protectors of capitalism, and that is why the left hates them, and that is why the left wants to abolish them. Does everyone understand what I just said? 1 in the chat if you're tracking with what I just said, 2 in the chat if you're confused and you have questions, and please, if you're confused, please ask a question. It's okay to be confused, guys. We have all different learning levels on the channel. So if you're new here, that might be really confusing, and I need to know if you're confused. We are not talking about progressives tonight. We're talking about socialists and communists. Progressives have nothing to do with it. Personal property is different than private property. Yes, I will explain that. So personal property are things like your phone, your dog, your book, your truck, things like that. When the left says private property, they're talking about property, bourgeois property that you can use to create private, personalized, personal wealth, okay? So you can't really take your truck. Okay, maybe you can sell your truck and make a couple $1,000s, but like you can't create a significant amount of individual wealth by selling your truck. You can create a significant amount of individual wealth by selling your land or your home or having an apartment rental. When the left says private property, they're talking about bourgeois property, property that you can use to create privatized wealth that gives you more money and more resources than other people. That is what creates the hierarchy. It's people who have property, private property, versus people who don't. The haves versus the have-nots. The oppressors versus the oppressed. The bourgeois versus the proletariat. So when the left is saying abolish private property, they're not talking about your phone. You can't make a lot of money from selling your phone. They're not talking about your pets. They're not talking about your toothbrush. They're not talking about any of those things. They're talking about the big stuff. When it comes to parental rights over your kids, they want to abolish that because parental rights allows for the passing of private wealth down from parent to child. When the left says equity, what they mean is the abolition of private property to make all resources available for everyone. That's what the redistribution of wealth is. It's the elimination of private property, things that create the wealth disparity in the first place. So the left tries to use this trick. They say, we don't want to abolish your personal property. We just want to abolish capitalism. No. What they're saying, they're trying to trick you. It's a gaslight. Let me know if you have questions about that. Bro, again, not smart enough to be here. We're not talking about progressives. Smarten up or we will deport you from the channel. Okay. I'm very sorry. Far too stupid to be here. Goodbye. Let me grab that super chat. Where did the super chat go? I share your pages everywhere. Thank you, Karlyn. You opened my eyes months ago. Wrath and Blood brought me here. I'm so returning the favor and opening eyes. Thank you so much, Albert. I really do appreciate it. That's rad. I'm just scrolling the chat, guys. All right. Oh, hey, Jerry. Good to see you. Honest question, not trying to be gay. I just don't understand, why do they want to burn the place down and how do they want to rebuild it? They believe that capitalism literally oppresses everyone and that we are all slaves to capitalism, and they want to build a society without capitalism so that we are not slaves. Is the short version. If you want more, go over to my Substack, go to the new to my work section, watch the presentation there. It'll explain more of it. Can someone drop the link to my Substack for people who are new? Guys, on the Substack, there's a 90-minute presentation. If you're new to my work, please watch that presentation at some point. It will answer almost every question you have. I promise you. It will answer like a lot of questions.
At this point, there were 5 different police departments standing around protecting the property of the collaborators. In this case, the protesters escalated to the maximum possible extent, then decided for themselves when the situation was no longer favorable a decision that the protest marshals had tried to reserve for themselves. January 25th.
Well, it is But again, as I explained to you earlier, it's a mutation. It's not straight Marxism. You've got to get this out of your head. This is not straight Marxism out of the book. This is not the philosophy. This is a mutated practical implementation of the ideas that have morphed over time and evolved over time. So it's not the same thing, like at all.
January 25th, 2026. January 25th to 26th. These protests were effective at their intended goals. Multiple hotels eventually ceased to house the murderers, even after the demonstrations had ended, and some hotels in St. Paul shut down operations entirely. Bearing this in mind, the initial organizers began to encourage other groups to plan their own noise demonstrations. The advantages of this more decentralized approach are illustrated by the demonstration that took place on University Avenue on January 25th, one day after the summary execution of Alex Preddy and the ensuing street battles. The participants in the January 25th noise demonstration had taken notes on what had worked in the streets.
Bro,
The clashes
it doesn't fucking matter. I have answered this question for you now 3 times, and I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you becoming a member of the channel. We want you to have access to this information. But when I answer a question once, and then I answer it again, and then I answer it a third fucking time, the conversation is over at that point. I am the teacher. You are the student. There is a hierarchy on my channel. You gotta acclimate to that. We are not here to learn from you. You are here to learn from me.
The clashes that established Alex Preddy Square on January 24th were characterized by the rapid proliferation of barricades. On the night of January 25th, by the time I could see what was happening at the Home 2 Suites on University Avenue, trash cans with pallets and mattresses had been pulled into the street, blocking off University Avenue on both sides of the hotel. The protesters made plenty of noise. At least one window was smashed, while the rest were decorated with messages, including "Fuck ICIC out" and "Killers stay here." January 25th, 2026. Some protesters pulled signs off the building. Some entered the lobby and rearranged the furniture. After at least 2 hours of this, for the first time, the feds took it upon themselves to respond to a noise demonstration directly, setting the stage for the demonstrators to break new ground. With the roads blocked off, the federal agents had to run in on foot from the side, filling the street with tear gas and shooting riot munitions into the crowd in order to enter the hotel.
Hey, can I just say on Pinky, I'm really glad you stuck around because, you know, you and I had a little bit of a beef earlier, and that's cool. But I love it when people stick around and they come back to learn even after I yell at them. So, you know, consider yourself hazed into the community. We appreciate you being here. Have a good night. You can always catch up later.
With the roads blocked off, the federal agents had to run in on foot from the side, filling the street with tear gas and shooting riot munitions into the crowd in order to enter the hotel.
Where was I educated? I was educated by watching over 5,000 hours of leftist training and content and presentations over the past 5 years. I was educated by infiltrating more leftist meetings than anyone else than you can fucking name. I was educated by going undercover with Antifa more than anyone else than you can name in the country. And if you want to name a name to see if they've done it more than I have, you go right ahead and you name that fucking name. That's where I was educated. I was educated by doing this shit in the real world every single day for the last 5 fucking years. Where were you educated, asshole?
With the roads blocked off, the federal agents had to run in on foot from the side, filling the street with tear gas and shooting riot munitions into the crowd in order to enter the hotel. Nonetheless, the demonstrators remained for a while, even throwing a metal pot at the head of a federal agent who was menacing the crowd with a riot shotgun in the front door.
They threw a pot at his head. Where did they say that? They threw a pot at his head.
Eventually, scores of feds and Minneapolis police arrived in riot gear to clear the barricades
right here.
and evacuate.
Nevertheless, the demonstrators remained for a while, even throwing a metal pot at the head of a federal agent who was menacing the crowd with a riot shotgun at the front door. They threw... What the fuck, man?
Eventually, Scores of feds and Minneapolis police arrived in riot gear to clear the barricades and evacuate the IC agents staying in the hotel. They arrested 14 people. In the ensuing melee, the pigs held skirmish lines while a now smaller group of protesters to west of the hotel waited patiently on the sidewalk, heckling the feds. After roughly an hour, the feds drove off, once again filling the neighborhood with tear gas as they retreated. After the police and feds left, the protesters went right back to the front of the hotel and began making noise and adding new paint to it for another
Hey,
hour.
guess
Minneapolis.
what, bro? Guess what? Deportation vote. 1, deport from the channel to Mexico. 2, we should give the retard a reprieve. 1, deport to Mexico. 2, retard can have a reprieve. Very sorry, bro. Deport. Deport, asshole. Bye. You think you're leaving? No. We're permanently banning you. Don't come back. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Bye.
Minneapolis police returned in riot gear, this time with public works crews in tow. Using the same bulldozers and garbage trucks they weaponized against unhoused neighbors to clear the barricade materials off the road. Once more, protesters simply waited for them to leave, then resumed making noise. By the time I was no longer able to follow the events, the demonstration had gone on for 6 hours, the longest I've heard by far.
6
January 25th,
hours.
2026. Takeaways. Public pressure campaigns can get the ball rolling. Escalation serves to achieve more immediate results. The less disruptive noise demonstrations help to get people involved, but did not always accomplish their goals. Consistency is
The less disruptive noise demonstration helped to get people involved, but did not always accomplish their goals. They're saying to accomplish things with these noise demonstrations, you need to be more aggressive and more disruptive, not less.
The less disruptive noise demonstrations help to get people involved, but did not always accomplish their goals. Consistency is not enough. It is more important that the hotels and the authorities experience the movement as unpredictable. When self-described peaceful noise demonstrations took place at the same location a month apart, this simply resulted in a stricter police response the second time around. By contrast, the demonstration on University Avenue compelled the agents to evacuate before it was even over. The police protect private property, and corporations use that property to turn a profit.
The police protect private property. Like literally what I just told you guys earlier. Where is it? The police protect private property, and corporations use that property to turn a profit on aiding the killers and kidnappers of our neighbors. That's why the left hates the police. That's why they hate ICE. That's why they hate DHS. That's why they hate CBP. Nathan, thanks for the super chat. Anyone who has studied Marx knows that he was a product of his time. A lot has changed. Let's not fight the ghosts of our past. There are new villains. This is really what people need to understand, because people think if you study Marxism or you understand the Frankfurt School stuff, they think it's the same thing today. It's not the same thing today. It's evolved in the streets and has morphed because of influences from punk and all this weird gender bullshit. And it's like it has evolved and mutated into something new that does not resemble what Marxism was in the Russian Revolution. It is a completely different monster. And unless people wrap their heads around this, there's just no hope, because if you're studying the Russian Revolution and Bolsheviks and all that, and you think those things are the same thing that's going on today, that's just completely unhinged from reality. If you're looking at the Cultural Revolution in China, and you're looking at Mao and you think that's the same thing that's happening today, completely unhinged from reality. If you're looking at Stalin and you think that's the same thing that's happening today, that's completely unhinged from reality. First of all, the far left hates Mao and they hate Stalin. And even beyond that, it's mutated into a new thing that is much different than where the philosophy originally began. Well, yeah, queer Marxism is part of it, but it also just in general has mutated. I mean, that's what happens with ideas, guys. Ideas evolve, they grow, they morph. Different philosophers come in and they contribute to the ideas. In this case, it's like The left writes stuff all the time. The left has a lot of people who contribute to the evolution of what this idea is. That's kind of what academia is. Academia is just like, it's people building on ideas over and over again. And then some of the ideas go over here and some of them go over here and they change and they morph and they grow. It's exactly the same thing with Marxism. That's what's happened. You have all of these different influencers that have contributed to what does it mean to have a communist revolution over the last several decades. And that has led to a very weird kind of like mutated form of far left activism that is not the same thing as it was 100 years ago.
The police protect private property, and corporations use that property to turn a profit on aiding the killers and kidnappers of our neighbors. Redecorating or otherwise transforming that property is a natural extension of the noise demonstration as a broader tactic.
What is the ratio of normies versus true believers? 99% true believers. Someone asked me earlier today, they were like, Karlyn, what is the percent of paid protesters versus people who are volunteers and are not getting paid? And I said, maybe 1% paid protesters, maybe. And I think I'm actually being generous with the 1%. Like, there's just not that many. When you're lucky talking about these noise demonstrations, these are far left activists. These are not normies. Normies are not going to the noise demonstrations. Like normies go to the No Kings protests. Normies come out for a couple hours on a weekend and they wave a sign and they chant a chant and maybe they put a bumper sticker on their car. Normies go to the No Kings protests so that they can feel like they did and they feel like they're a good person and all that shit. It's only the hardcore far leftists that are out banging pots and pans in front of a hotel room like at midnight on a Tuesday.
Redecorating or otherwise transforming that property is a natural extension of the noise demonstration as a broader tactic. January 25th, 2026. Pick your battles. Fight your enemy while they are at rest. The benefit of noise demonstrations is that they allow the people confront their occupiers directly on their own terms. This is different from patrolling, rapid response, and the street battles that break out each time a Fed murders or kidnaps a beloved neighbor. By taking the initiative.
Do you guys want an intermission? Do you guys want to hear a song about queer Marxism? See, you started this. Do you guys want to hear a song that sums up queer Marxism in like 2 minutes and 30 seconds? Do you want an intermission, a brief intermission? 1 in the chat if you want to do an intermission and listen to a song about queer Marxism. 2 in the chat if you just want to keep going. Yeah, we're doing it. Listen to the song. All right. For people who are new to queer Marxism and you haven't studied it with me, this is a song written by a queer Marxist band called the Dog Park Dissidents, and this will sum up everything that queer Marxists believe, okay? Pay attention.
I don't wanna get married. I don't wanna be just like you. Nobody bothered to ask me. They said I ought to be just like you. Well, I could get a marriage license for a husband and me, so I could use the health insurance for my HART. Since I can buy a taxi with the same gender spouse, I shouldn't feel so bad getting kicked out of my house. Don't send me a rainbow. Your life has never done shit for me. Don't want a seat at your table. A fucking invitation to your party.
Fun fact for people who are new to the channel. Do you know that the far left never wanted gay marriage to be legalized? That's different from this topic, but late night streams can really go anywhere. We go all over the place with late night streams. Do you guys know that the far left never wanted gay marriage to be legalized? This is an example of one of the mutations that has happened within Marxism, with queer Marxism specifically. The left never wanted gay marriage to be legalized. They believe that marriage forces people to assimilate to the norms of the straights, normativity. Marriage is considered to be a form of propertied relationship. So what people might not realize is there was a little war that happened between the radical queer far left and the liberal human rights campaign, legalization of gay marriage. There was a war that happened between those two factions on the far left, or on the left, where the normie Democrats, they won. Gay marriage was legalized, and the far left was really pissed off about that because they believe that marriage is a form of propertied relationship that perpetuates capitalism. And so what happened after gay marriage was legalized? This is when everything started to get really crazy. What happened after gay marriage was legalized? All the normie gay rights activists went home and they said, "Whoa, we can get married now. We're done. That's all we wanted." And then the radical queer Marxists came into all the nonprofits and took them over because of the complete gap that was left after the normie Democrats left the movement, because they literally just wanted to get married. These are the types of things you have to understand the modern day evolution of Marxism, because there's a lot of weird shit like that. Anyway, that's just a brief intermission. Let's go back to this.
By taking the initiative, the benefit of noise demonstrations is that they allow the people confront their occupiers directly on their own terms. This is different from patrolling, rapid response, and the street battles that break out each time a Fed murders or kidnaps a beloved neighbor. By taking the initiative, the protesters are able to determine the conditions of engagement and gain the opportunity to press their advantage. For example, by temporarily leaving when overwhelming state forces arrived only to resume as soon as they left, the demonstrators on University Avenue were able to...
Hang on. You're confused. You're confused. Queer does not mean gay or trans. Queer is a far left political ideology designed to abolish capitalism. If you want to know more about this, go watch my introduction to queer Marxism. I will explain it all and lay it all out. There is no such thing as just a gay queer, because queer has nothing to do with being gay. When they say straight, they mean normal. Straight means normal. It does not mean heterosexual. And we flat out have them on video saying this. When they say straight, they don't mean heterosexual. They mean normal. They mean walking the straight and narrow. They mean adapting to the norms that uphold capitalism. So, this is not correct. Queer means far left. That's what it means.
For example, by temporarily leaving when overwhelming state forces arrived only to resume as soon as they left, the demonstrators on University Avenue were able to maximize the duration of their action, minimize the risk to their health and freedom.
Yeah, and I promise we'll go back to this, but this is really important to understand, guys. Why is it important that you understand that the far left never wanted gay marriage to be legalized in the first place? Because conservative retards want to abolish gay marriage, and that would be the most giant mistake that they've ever made. If conservatives are able to abolish gay marriage, you guys aren't going to want to hear this, but this is the truth that people need to accept. If conservatives ever get their way and abolish gay marriage, you're going to lose the nuclear family. Gay marriage is the thing that assimilates people who would otherwise be on the far left to capitalism. Marriage is the thing that assimilates them to what the left calls homonormativity, or the norms that uphold capitalism. It's like assimilating to the norms of the straights. If you take away gay marriage, you are going to instantly radicalize an entire segment of society to the far left, and then the nuclear family is over. So on this one, if conservatives don't drop the whole gay marriage thing, we are irrevocably fucked, and it will be something that they did on their own because they didn't understand the history of why this evolved the way it did. Yeah, anyone can be queer. It's not a sexual orientation. Queer is a political ideology. Okay, back to this, I promise this time.
For example, by temporarily leaving when overwhelming state forces arrived only to resume as soon as they left, the demonstrators on University Avenue were able to maximize the duration of their action, minimize the risk to their health and freedom, and compel the fascists to expend the maximum amount of resources. We should learn from this and incorporate this strategy into future actions. If the police do not know if we will come back, then every time we appear
Yes.
a location,
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Pineapple on pizza is considered to be queer. And under my fascist dictatorship, when I'm put in charge and I get to make all the rules, we are banning everything queer under my fascist dictatorship. That's actually like priority number one. When I come into power, we are banning all queer bullshit. There will be no writing about queer bullshit. There will be no studying queer bullshit. There will be no lecturing about queer bullshit. The only people who will even be allowed to interact with queer bullshit are specially trained people and you keep that shit away from society. I will jail anyone that does anything queer at all. I really do mean that. And so pineapple on pizza is definitely considered queer because pineapple on pizza is bullshit and it sucks and it's a big thumbs down. And anyone who likes pineapple on pizza is a terrorist. So yes, we'll be banning pineapple on pizza when I'm the fascist dictator of the world. Exactly. Kat, thank you for the rumble. I won't pay a penny for that song. Thanks for the rumble rant, bro. I appreciate it.
if the police do not know if we will come back, then every time we appear a location, they will have to keep forces stationed there, stretching their troops thin. January 25th, 2026. A good noise demonstration in progress advertises for itself. People broadly hate IC, revealing the location of the fascists and their collaborators politicizes and radicalizes those who witness these demonstrations. At nearly every one of these demonstrations, cars driving by honk in support. Many take several more laps in order to continue
I gotta
honking.
turn the chat back on.
These
sorry.
events are fun. They have an undeniably positive energy. Hotel guests even come outside to join us.
Look, the noise protests are fun, guys. Everyone hates ICE. Revealing the location of the fascists and their collaborators politicizes and radicalizes those who witness the demonstration. And nearly every one of these demonstrations, cars are driving by and honking in support. Many take several more laps to continue the honking. Guys, the left has so much support that people are literally driving around the hotel just like they see these noise protests and they start driving around the hotel honking their horns. These events are fun. They have fun doing this. This is a social activity. They have undeniable positive energy. Hotel guests even come out and join us. This is a problem. This is going to be a big fucking problem, I promise you. Well, I don't think they're a law-abiding people. So
Hotel guests even come outside to join us. Noise demonstrations help to demystify the occupation to neighbors, revealing proximity and vulnerability of the occupies and the power that everyone has to do something about it.
is that it? We done? Okay. So that is their noise protest manual. How do people feel? How do people feel about this? I was thinking about reading some other propaganda on their website, but I think I might be too tired and I have to get up early tomorrow. Guys, by the way, programming note, I am going to be on InfoWars with Harrison Smith tomorrow at 11 a.m., or I guess it's today at 11 a.m. now. At 11 a.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to be chatting with Harrison Smith on InfoWars. This was originally supposed to be at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, but Harrison is now hosting the morning show, and so I'm going on in the morning, and so I have to get my ass up very early, much earlier than usual, to make myself look presentable, to go on InfoWars, so you guys can watch me on that tomorrow if you want to. And we'll be doing a 5 p.m. stream as well. You're disturbed? Yeah. Yep. So what this is telling me, guys, is that we're going to start seeing noise protests pop up at hotels nationwide. No one should be surprised when we start seeing more noise protests outside of Minneapolis and like Ohio and Chicago and Portland, obviously, and anywhere where ICE is. Basically, there's going to be noise protests going on. And so, you know, insofar as the channel goes, hey, more content for me. More content for us. I hope the streamers are ready to go out and stream it, because I'm sure as shit not leaving my house to go stand out in the cold. So that's going to be coming, and that's going to be awesome, and we'll follow it on the channel. And as always, I will update you on what the left is doing in real time. And of course, conservative influencers will find out about all this in about 3 to 6 months. And then conservative influencers will pretend that they were the first ones to tell you about it. And then they'll say, Karlyn, you're just jealous, when I say, hey, I've been talking about this shit for months, assholes. But that's okay. You guys were here first. You know who's always the first to report on this stuff. It's the way it goes. Guys, if you enjoyed the stream tonight, please make sure you mount the like button on the way out the door. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And, you know, I'll be back tomorrow. And we'll keep on being ahead of everyone on the far left. And that is just, I'm a Cassandra, man. What can I say? I am a Cassandra. My lot in life is to scream at the sky, and then have everyone else catch up to me 6 months to a year later. And then all those other people are like, we came up with this first. And I'm like, you assholes, I started talking about that a year ago. Whatever. All right, guys. That's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Thanks for everyone who sent in super chats. Thanks for everyone who donated channel memberships. I really do appreciate all of you. And I will see you in the morning.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital.
That's difficult to answer.